La lettura di oggi si intitola Per prime le priorità. La verità è una ed eterna. Realizza l'unione con essa nel tuo sé immortale, nel profondo del tuo essere. Il seguente commento è basato sugli insegnamenti di Paramahansa Yogananda. Questa espressione, per prime le priorità, è un suggerimento offerto di frequente agli studenti di tecniche manageriali. È il consiglio della praticità per coloro che aspirano al successo mondano. Tuttavia, secondo la dottrina ermetica, come sopra, così sotto, ciò che funziona meglio a un livello della vita è spesso la migliore indicazione di ciò che funzionerà meglio a tutti gli altri livelli. Se una persona rimane fedele alle sue priorità più alte, scoprirà che anche gli altri suoi bisogni verranno soddisfatti naturalmente. Questo è senza dubbio vero per la ricerca di Dio, uno dei più grandi detti di Gesù, e questa semplice frase nel capitolo 6 del Vangelo secondo Matteo. Cercate prima il regno di Dio e la sua giustizia, e tutte queste cose vi saranno date in aggiunta. Paramahansa Yogananda diede a suo fratello maggiore Ananta una bellissima lezione proprio su questa verità. Ananta l'aveva scovato e riportato a casa dopo il suo tentativo di fuga verso l'Himalaya, come descritto nell'autobiografia di uno yogi. Nel libro di Yogananda leggiamo come Ananta lo avesse in seguito sfidato a mettere alla prova la sua fede nel divino, alla luce di concrete considerazioni terrene, come il bisogno di guadagnarsi da vivere. Intrepido di fronte alla sfida, il giovane aspirante aveva accettato di recarsi in treno, senza soldi, alla vicina città di Vrindavan, di non saltare nemmeno un pasto e di ritornare ad Agra senza elemosinare o chiedere aiuto in qualsiasi altro modo. In uno dei più affascinanti capitoli del libro, Yogananda soddisfa tutte le condizioni della prova. Egli continua così il suo racconto. Man mano che gli veniva raccontata la storia, mio fratello divenne prima serio, poi solenne. La legge di domanda e offerta si estende a reami più sottili di quanto avrei supposto. Ananda parlò con un entusiasmo spirituale mai dimostrato prima d'allora. Capisco per la prima volta il tuo disprezzo per le ricchezze e per la volgare cupidigia del mondo. Malgrado l'ora tardissima, mio fratello insistette per ricevere la Diksha, iniziazione al Kriya Yoga. La Bhagavad Gita afferma nel capitolo 9: coloro che adorano gli dei minori vanno ai loro dei, ma coloro che venerano me vengono a me. Così, attraverso la Sacra Scrittura, Dio ha parlato all'umanità.
Happy Sunday to all again, because the first time that I said it, most of you were not here, so happy Sunday to all of you that are following from home. The reading today, I think, is wonderful. There is this phrase from the Bible: search first for the reign of God and everything will arrive. Swami in this reading also gives us this phrase from the autobiography. Who of you has read the autobiography of a yogi? So we remember that this reminds us this story where Ananta, Yogananda's brother, asks his Yogananda and Mukunda and his friend to go to Brindaban, and he asks him to not to say that he has this challenge, and where he could not ask money and could not ask anything, and he had to eat all of his meals. And the way this happens is so exquisite, because we see the testimonial of this promise from Jesus, from God, through the Bible, that when we live in the faith of God, God takes care of every need that we have, but much, much more. What happens that Yogananda and Jitendra, in this train, two men come in and invite them to this banquet. The first meal that they take, a meal with 30 plates. And Jitendra plays this role like Thomas that doubts, and he has you have the example of Yogananda with his complete faith and faith on Divine Mother that will give everything to them. And Jitendra doubts, and Jitendra asks, what are we going to do now? How are we going to, now that we are in this situation, how are we going to eat? And then these men come and they invite them to this wonderful, wonderful banquet, and they are just eat, and they're full of gratitude. And Jitendra, after he has eaten, forgets the miracle that has just happened. And he says, well, this is just a coincidence. What are we going to do now? We have no money. We can't do anything without the money. And Yogananda says, don't worry, be calm. Divine Mother will think about everything. And then another unknown person comes, and he says, I would like to take you to see the city. I want to guide you. I have seen you. And he tells Yogananda, I have seen you in my visions, and you are my guru. So he takes them around through the whole town, and he gives them the tickets to come back and money. And when they go home, they demonstrate to Ananta, Yogananda's brother, that this promise that has manifested, that when you live in God, God takes care of you. So we have this living example of someone living just for God, and that's Swami Kriyananda. And he has taught us, to all of us that lived with him, how to put God in the first place and to see the miracles that happen. And truthfully, Ananda was created with this principle. First through Swami, that attracted hundreds and thousands of people that want to dedicate their life to God, and never started from how many people do we have, how much money do we have, the resources, what is possible, what is not possible. No, it all started from God. What do you want? What do you want that happens? And when he could feel that inspiration, he would start whatever was, without money, without people. But then miracles would happen, the right person that would arrive with the right knowledge, the money that could come. And looking around me in Ananda, just knowing how this temple was constructed, how it was built, and the whole of Ananda, we can nominate so many personal examples of this. We can all be testimonials of this, because all of us, in some way or another, here in this temple, because we are searching for God. In my life in Ananda, I really remember so many situations. I can see so much abundance that is around us. We personally do not have a lot of money as a personal level and at a collective level. We have dedicated our life for a simple life. When I see Uma, I remember Nayaswami Uma. For those that do not know her, she's here now. And when they started, they were nuns, and they had given their life. They promised a life of renunciation, and lived in a very simple life. Lived in these campers, these motor homes, and I don't know where they were, but they were in this house in San Francisco. In San Francisco, in the United States, they were in the house of a millionaire. In some way, he was connected with Ananda, and she was with some nuns close to this beautiful house, in a pool, in this amazing mansion. And they were saying, how is it possible that we renounce to everything and we find ourselves in these places? I don't have money. I have very little money, but every time that I sit to eat and I see the food that we grow, and I can feel the abundance, the gifts that God is giving me. With so much money, with so much love, it's so much abundance. I think that I have never needed, I've always received what I needed at a material level. When I wanted to go to India in a miraculous way, this trip to India arrived 3 times as a gift. At a material level, for example, Rudra and I, many years ago, to have a little bit more money, we would sell cookies. We would sell cookies, big cookies, chocolate chip cookies, and they would cost €1. And they were in this jar in the dining room, and we could see the money in €5, €10. But I can't remember that we were trying to save money to do to because we wanted to do a trip, to have a trip. And then one day we see €50 in our jar, and we said, wow, 50, who gave us €50? And on it was written in a very small, written on the €50, it said, the Divine Mother loves you. The next day, there was another €50, and also the Heavenly Father loves you. And I can tell you hundreds of these stories. This is when you live for God, this happens. And even if we have all these moments that we have all lived, where we feel the love and the protection of God, how many times are we like Yogananda, where we have total faith? And how many times do we become like Jitendra, that forgets what he has received? Even with all these moments of divine love that manifests, how many times do we forget, and how fast we forget? And we go back in not having faith. We can fall into all of what we have to do, our responsibilities, and we can ask, where where is God at the end of my day? And I thought of 3 motives why we forget or we don't put God at the first place. Let's check these 3 points and see if you agree. The first point is the lack of faith. In this story of Yogananda, we see that the main word that comes out is complete faith in God. And where is our faith? We are so much used to the idea that we have to do. We all have responsibilities, family, work, we have to earn, pay many things. But in a certain way, we do not have the faith that God is there to help us. It could be that we turn to Him when we are desperate, but in our everyday life, what is the mechanism? That the mechanism is I have to do. The mechanism is I have to control things. I have to take care of everything. If I don't do it, nobody will. So we find ourselves working alone. All of this because we really do not have faith. Firstly, that God loves us. And this mostly is in the center of so many problems we have, because it's like we don't have faith that God loves us and that loving us, He will take care of us. Like Jesus says, if Jesus takes care of little birds and of fields and of flowers, what about you? You that are His children, do you think He will not take care of us? Anandamui, I think, once said to someone, don't you think that whom created this universe doesn't know how to care for this creation? So we find ourselves trying to do everything alone. I can tell you many, many examples of when I did this, because I am by nature someone that jumps into doing. I will tell you an episode that happened many, many years ago that came to my mind when I thought about this lack of faith, or especially this thought of that we have to take control and we have to act. Those of you that know me, I have served many, many years in the kitchen in Ananda. And I remember one summer, there was family week. And there were many, many children and adults. And we had this barbecue on a Saturday evening. And I was responsible of this meal with another cook. It was a barbecue for 150, 170 people. They were a lot. I had already done that, but the cook that I was with, working with, serving with, had never done this. And she had a great heart, but she wasn't very active and dynamic. So I was a bit of in anxiety, because I have to do this, I have to do that. And it was like thousands of things, and I was worried because it's too much. I'm not going to manage to do it. Everything was beeping everywhere, the oven, and so much to do. And this chaos was inside of me and outside of me. And at some point I said, okay, Mahiya, you have to do something, because this is not working. You are not understanding. And so I said to this cook, I said, I'm going to go for a few minutes. I will come back. And I came to the temple, I sat down, and I just put everything in Divine Mother's hands. I must arrive to desperation to arrive to this point and to ask and pray in this way. And then I came back and so centered and so relaxed, and everything was so perfect, and it flowed in a wonderful way. It was marvelous, and this was it was like a symphony, divine symphony. The rice was cooked, and everything was ready. And when I would put in, everything was like orchestrated. And like Frank Lauberg, a Christian mystic, said he was known by working on the presence of God. He said you need the energy to think of God. You need to put out an effort. But when we put that effort in thinking of God, the rest of life flows without effort. We think that we have to put out our effort, and then if there is something doesn't work, we think of God. It's the contrary. Yogananda says if you would put the same effort that you put out for something small, if you would make a bigger effort to find God, as big as what you do for small things, you would find God. Much energy do we put out for small things? If we put God at the first place and then relax that He will take care of everything in a magnificent way without effort. An antidote for this lack of faith I found on the practice of the how do you say it in English? The tithing. And this is the practice that was written on the Bible, and where you give 10% of what you earn to God, or to the fountain of your spiritual inspiration. So this doesn't happen after you have paid all your things. If you earn €1,000 without counting anything, the first thing you do, you pay 100 to God. This puts us in a challenge, because what you're doing is, I know that everything that comes to me comes from you, and I give this money to you, and I know that you will take care of me. This is the power of the tithing. I invite you to try, because if you've never tried it, the rule is 10%. There is a man that gave 90% of what he received because he saw that the law, that it works. And write this down, because once you start doing your tithing, you will see the miracles that happen. There was a story that Arudra and I were going on a vacation and we didn't have money. And there was money just to arrive there, but we did not have extra money that we needed. So we said, are we going to do our tithing or not? And we said, yes, this is our spiritual practice. We can't choose. We will give our tithing. We have faith. And nothing, we had nothing. We arrived in England. We first went to Croatia, and two family members of Arudra gave us 300 euros for our wedding that had happened 3 years before. And then we went to England, and my dad said, I want to give you the house that you have paid. And that was 150 pounds that we had already paid. And we felt we were so rich. And we lived this holiday in such a beautiful way. This, for us, was the miracle of tithing. This can be a regular practice and see what happens. The second motive why we do not put God in the first place is because we forget why we are here. Patanjali, the father of the yoga, gives us 5 reasons why a devotee can fail in his spiritual path. That is the first one, because we lose the point, we miss the point. We are confused on why are we here. In the astral world, everything is clear. We come down on earth, incarnate. Our lessons are A, B, and C. I have to liberate myself of many things. And I wish to get closer to God. So we arrive to the earth, to this life, to learn what we have to learn, to grow and to realize who I really am. When we get here, we forget everything and we are confused. And we think the reason of this life is in having a good position, falling in love, growing a family, having success. But really, the true scope of life is to find God. So it is important to find in meditation, who am I? Who am I and why am I here? Why have I incarnated in this life? What did I come to learn? Why? What? And the reasons, the answers will come if you ask for this clarity in a sincere way. Doesn't mean that these things are wrong. Having a career or growing a family is not wrong. Having success is not wrong. But if we feel that our happiness is there, if we feel that this is the scope of life, then we are a bit confused. We must invert things, understanding that these things have a sense if they make us grow, if they help us expand ourselves, and in the understanding of who we are really. So the antidote of this forgetting why we are here in meditation, or someone that can be your spiritual guide that can help you, or have a astrologic consultation to help you have more clarity, can give you what are the reasons why I'm here. Don't ask once, ask every day. Arudra, I will tell a story about Arudra. He went through a very difficult moment in his life, and every day he tells that he would ask these 3 questions every morning. Why am I here? Who am I serving? And who is really acting? And these 3 questions helped him live these days with serenity. So it's important to ask this. The third reason why we don't put God in the first place is habit. Habit is neutral. Is he a friend or an enemy? Habit is the memorization of something that you do, and the mind creates these grooves that render this thought easily. It creates like a shortcut. So God has designed the brain to help us to repeat in an easy way, with not a lot of energy, the things that we want to do or want to think. The problem is that these habits can help us or not. So often these habits have us repeat. Even if we do not want, we find ourselves sometimes that we are anxious or angry, or they have us eat too much or wake up late, even if we know that it's not good for us. But it's like the habit that pushes us. So the antidote is to create new habits. How do you create a new habit? You have to have an action plan. A small example. For example, I create new habits in my life. The bad habit was to go to bed too early, too late. Because in the evening I have so many messages of WhatsApp, hundreds, and I take like 2 hours to finish all of that before I go to bed. But then I go to bed at 11, at 12, and as a consequence, in the morning I wake up later than when I would like to, and my meditation is shorter. So I wanted to change this, and a friend helped me with the meditations that he does during the night, because during the night it is the best moment to meditate, because there's so much calmness, and it is easier to meditate during the night. I had never tried, and I really didn't want to try, but honestly I said, okay, I want to try. So instead of getting up earlier, I decided to get up during the night from 2 to 4 in the morning. Now this is the new habit I wanted to create. And to start to do this, I needed a plan. I have to go back to sleep earlier. I have to eat in a light way, because if I eat heavy food, or if I eat too late, I won't be able to wake up. So I have to put my alarm clock. So every habit needs a plan of action. Do it with God. What is our plan? God, I want to create this habit, and know that we are never alone. If you ask for help, Divine Mother, the Masters will help us. So, do you remember the 3 points? Lack of faith antidote. The tithing. Second point, forget why we are here. Antidote, ask every day, give me clarity, why am I here? Third point, bad habits. Antidote, create new healthy habits with a plan of action. So now you have your homework. I want to finish with this whisper of eternity of Master that I really love. It's 141. I will be the naughty baby of the Divine Mother. In the hall of life, decorated with mountains, stormy cataracts, and wild scenery, I have played long. Each time when tired of play, I cried for thee. Thou didst drop down through the skylight of my heart's craving some new doll of fame, friends, or prosperity to quiet me. This time, Divine Mother, I will play the naughty baby. I will sob unceasingly. No more shall the toys of earthly pleasure stop my cries. O Divine Mother, thou must come soon, or I will waken all creation with my cries. I will make all thy sleeping children wake and join me in a chorus of wails. Forsake thy busyness with the housework of thy creation. I demand your attention. I demand thee. I no longer want thy playing things. So this is the attitude that we have to have, to cry for God and remember why we are here. The scope of this life is to find God, and let's try not to lose ourselves in the distraction and things of life, but to have clarity. Why am I here? And to find and create this time for God, meditation a little bit every day, because this contact is so important. It reveals so much to us. It gives us so many answers. And this way we create this faithful relationship. And when we really live a life with God at the first time, everything flows and we don't have to worry. Have a beautiful Sunday.